This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
这是我。
This is me.
This is me.
And this is us.
Alright, y'all, welcome back to another episode of This Is Us, where I give you the opportunity to interact with some of the people in the visually impaired and blind community and just see what they got going on in their own personal lives. So, although I was ever so politely reminded that I did not get an opportunity to interview my blind Titan brother, here he is, y'all, Irving Middleton. Say hey to the people, man.
Hey, how y'all doing? What's up?
Okay, so as always, Irving, we're gonna go ahead and get all the formalities and stuff out the way. So although I said your name, go ahead and let everybody know who you are, your age, and where you're from.
So my name is Irving Middleton. I am from Charleston, South Carolina. I am currently 37 years of age.
Okay, so let us know your eye condition, and what your vision is like and how long you've been dealing with it.
So my eye condition is diabetic retinopathy, and I also have glaucoma. And I've been dealing with it for about 10 years now.
Okay. And then if you could describe your vision to someone, how would you describe your vision?
I would describe my vision as looking into a mirror after getting out the shower, like a foggy mirror.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard anybody describe it like that, so that's a pretty good depiction of it. Okay. All right. So, and then last but not least, because I'm total, and I'm sure there's some other totally blind people, out there, how would you physically describe yourself for those who could not see?
Oh my God. I think I'm brown. I would say that I'm brown skinned. I'm 5'10".
Okay.
I weigh about 170 pounds.
Okay.
People say I'm skinny. I've also heard that I got a big back. But no, I'll just decide. I think I'm a slim person.
Okay.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So, man, let's get down to the nitty gritty. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, you guys, as I mentioned before when the interview first started, me and Irv are part of a group of 5 guys now who call themselves the Blind Titans. And we all came together because we were dealing with some of the same issues and we really wanted to make a difference and leave an imprint on the community just at large. So, give me an idea, Irv, of what it was like when you joined the Blind Titans and what it's like to interact with your 4 brothers.
Of course, joining it, you got people who you don't really know exactly that well. Mm-hmm. So it was, trials of learning who this person is or who that person is. When I say who that person is, I mean like how they operate, their ins and outs, for the most part. But now, I feel like we know each other so well. When we get together and talk, it's inside joke after inside joke, and it's a really, really good time traveling with you guys. It's like really, really good. For me, it don't matter where we go as long as we together, and when we are together, we just make sure each other's straight.
Yeah,
we all good.
Yeah. And so I know that it's been about a year or so that we became a nonprofit. And I know that was something that each of us really strive for as far as, doing things and helping the community and stuff like that. So what was one of your favorite moments with being a Blind Titan up to this point, obviously?
it's been a bit of them. So, but I guess since you said since we became a nonprofit, I would have to say that first trip that we took to Oklahoma, that was we had a ball. Yeah. Like, I think that was the first time we, I would say, behaved the way we behaved as a unit. And not to say that it was a bad thing or we did anything horrible or bad, but like just the way we traveled. We went on a boat trip, feeding the homeless. That was pretty good, remarkable. You know, we were able to meet Daniel, a good bit of Daniel's family. Like, it was a really, like, a lot of milestones I think were met on that one trip. Right. That's why I feel like that one was so special.
And it's funny because as you're answering that, I'm thinking to myself, like, that definitely was the one that I would have chose. A lot of the other trips and things that we've done have meant a lot to me as well. But it was something about that trip that really just said, you know, y'all are official. You know, we were doing what we set out to do. We were affecting people. And to me, that trip is just always going to be monumental for me. So yeah, I would definitely 100% agree with you when you say that. So, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Going forward, even if it's nothing but just the connection that you have with your four brothers, what is something that you would say that you would like for the community to know about the Blind Titans?
One thing that I want the community to know, that we actually want to do so much more than we have already done. I think that a lot of people really don't know how passionate we are about advocating for the multiple things we advocate for. You know, blindness, diabetes, paraplegia, mental health, kidney failure, you know, dialysis, all of those things. I think people don't really get that we are very, very passionate about all of those things, because each one of us has dealt with one or another part of what we advocate for. Right.
Look, or still are dealing with
them. Right. So, of course, because we're all blind.
Right.
That ain't going away, but
Yeah, and I agree, because I think it's like a lot of times you just think blindness, you know, but there's so much more to our experience and how we all kind of came together to make up who we are.
Yes.
So that's what's up, Blind Titan brother. Okay.
I know.
But it's funny that you actually say that, because it leads me really into my next question. Because each of us brings something different to the table and what we have personally had to deal with, you as an individual have had to deal with something commonly known with diabetics, and that's amputation. So I know that is something that is commonly discussed within a lot of different communities, but more specifically the diabetic community. But I really wanted you to kind of tell your story of exactly how you ended up with a leg amputation.
So actually, I did the one thing that diabetics are actually not supposed to do. And basically the one time that I did it, it went wrong. So I actually just peeled some dead skin off of my big toe, and it just never, I went too far. And of course, because I didn't have much feeling in my big toe, I pulled too much skin, and it just never healed. So it went from one toe, which was my big toe, being amputated, and then they had to go back into, I think they call it debriding it. Okay. From like some slush or whatever, dead skin, whatever. So then after that, they amputated 2 toes. The second toe went with it. And then that didn't heal. So they were actually scheduled to just take all of the toes. And the day before I was still on dialysis. The day before, my nurse was like, "Hey, Irving, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm actually getting my toes amputated tomorrow." And the guy next to me, which I had already seen him on my days, sometimes he would come in, but he was like, "Let me tell you something, man." Like, because at the time I didn't know he was an amputee too, as well. So he was like, "Let me tell you something." He said, "To be honest, it's better to just go ahead and let them go where the blood flow is, basically." And my doctor had already previously told me that they're going to take the toes, but my blood flow doesn't really start until, below where they would have already did a below the knee amputation. But at the time I was not ready for that. But talking to that guy that day, he kind of made me think about it. So I actually called the doctor that day after I left dialysis and told him that. I don't think they got the memo. So the next day when I went in, I reiterated that. And then it was like, okay, yes, we can do that, because it was May when I got my leg amputated. I didn't want it to go, I didn't want to be dealing with that until December, because it would have been, they cut the toes, wait a couple of months, then they go back in and cut again. So to prevent all of that, I just was like, you know what? Let me just get it all amputated. And if I'm being honest, that's actually a hard decision. It's probably the hardest decision I've made in my life. Yeah. But it was a very, very good one as well. Yeah. As lightly as people may take it.
Yeah. And that was actually kind of where I was going to go next, because that has to be a really hard thing to have to sit down and say, you know what? I'm going to take the initiative and to say, instead of continuing to operate on 1, then 2, then 3 toes, then a foot, or, to just go ahead and just, say, let's just prevent all of this and just take essentially from your knee down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's the calf. It's like the calf.
Oh, the calf.
It's it's like the calf area.
So
below the knee amputation.
So what was the recovery process like that? Because I'm telling you guys, being around Irv, gets around normal, walks. I'm surprised he ain't took off and started sprinting yet. So what was, from that point, because I'm sure you had to go through the period of being in a wheelchair and stuff like that, or a walker, or whatever the case may be. What was the period like that to get to the Irv to what we know now, who essentially is walking like nothing ever happened?
So I got my leg amputated in May. I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but it was either the middle or I think it was the 23rd. It might have been the 23rd. But anyways, I got my leg amputated on the 23rd of May. Mm-hmm. I did stay in the hospital for maybe a couple of days, but then I went to a rehab facility for about a week. The thing about me going to the rehab facility, I had already been doing, because after I got my 2 toes amputated, I was pushing myself around on this knee. If you guys ever seen somebody with their knee in a cast or something, mm-hmm. I had that. So they didn't want me to put any pressure on the foot. So I was already actually moving around almost like my leg was already amputated in a way. So everything that I learned at the rehab facility,
right,
I kind of already was doing just from having to figure out another way how to do stuff. So I got into rehab pretty quickly, because they kind of said, well, I was already advanced or whatever. But I got my leg amputated in May, and then I was fitted for, I think I was walking with a prosthetic by August. So that's May, June, July, August. So 3-month recovery in a wheelchair. I was determined
Okay.
to get out their wheelchair.
All right. Man. That drive pushed you, man. I'm gonna walk today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy to see that. So I mean, big ups to you and stuff like that. And I'm again, although I don't want to backtrack, going back to the conversation that we had as Blind Titans. One of the things that, and this doesn't apply to all of the Blind Titans, I just want to make sure I say that as well. But one of the things that I can always remember being told as a juvenile diabetic, that the main things that are going to happen if you do not take care of yourself are dialysis, blindness, and amputation. And essentially,
So go ahead.
Go ahead. If there's more, hey, look, go ahead and jump on in.
No, that's not what go ahead.
And so essentially we are all, to some degree, within the Blind Titans, walking testimonies of the things that diabetes can do to your body if you do not manage it. So
absolutely.
I always love to talk to you guys and to ask this question: what advice would you give somebody who is struggling with their diabetes now, and what could happen to them if they do not start to take it seriously?
Could you repeat the first question?
Oh, just what advice you would give to somebody if they're struggling with their diabetes right now?
I think the main focus is eating differently.
Okay.
Trying to eat clean. Get rid of the carbs. And when people hear carbs, they think candy and sweets. That's not necessary. It's rice, potatoes, pasta, breads. Those are the carbs that turn into sugars. That people don't. Potatoes is another big one. Those are the things that people don't realize. Right. Like, I don't eat candy, I don't eat sweets. It's not that. It's the other things that turn into sugar. So I would definitely tell them to check your eating habits. Okay. Create better eating habits and eat clean. Yep. And what can happen to you? Everything that's happened to me. Everything. Exactly. Yeah. I'm losing sight. I've been on dialysis. I've gotten a kidney transplant. I've lost my leg. But I mean, everything that I'm a walking example of what can happen. That's why I do love to tell my story, because if I can't be that example for you, I don't know what else can help. I don't know what else can help you. Yeah. I always say to myself, especially when I was kind of going through my phases and stuff like that, is, it'll never happen to me, and look, it happened to us. So yeah, that's a good message, Irv. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. Yes, sir.
So one thing, and this is the beauty of, and now I see why parents have kids, to see them grow. The beauty of being able to sit back and watch your friends come from one place to where they are now, to me, growth is just a beautiful thing, for me at least. From the Irv that I know when I first met you, to the Irv now who is participating in the local chapter of his NFB in South Carolina, and really going to spread his word about all his experiences, stuff that he has been through. I'm proud, man. I definitely have to say that I am proud. I got to give you your props.
Thank you.
What is it like serving and interacting in your local chapter of NFB?
To be honest, though, to me, it feels no different from advocating with the Blind Titans.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm doing the same exact thing, just with the NFB, it's more focused on blindness. Mm-hmm. Because, of course, National Federation of the Blind. But other than that, just advocating, it feels the same. Just that with the Blind Titans, we have more causes, more, behind us. But I don't feel no different. because I'm still trying to get my story out there, still trying to get people to see things from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, different perspectives, because a lot of people think black and white, but it's that gray area sometimes that you got to take into account.
Yeah, that's true. And I've also noticed too that you've been getting a lot of opportunities here recently, going to speak out. Like you said, sharing your story, going to speak at different functions, being recognized for different things. So, and I don't want to misspeak, so I'm going to actually let you tell your story. You were actually recognized for I forget the name of it. You were actually recognized for something in South Carolina where you had to go give a speech. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, so what you're speaking of is I'm a part of I work for Goodwill, so a part of it, they asked me to be in this grassroots advocacy group.
Okay.
And basically what it is Goodwill hires people with disabilities.
Okay.
So I'm basically speaking on behalf of the program to keep it funded. All of the good things about the program, how it helps people with disabilities. So I had a chance to speak to a couple of congressmen's camps on how the program has affected me. And I don't want to name the congressmen at this time. I don't want to get it wrong.
Okay.
But I have spoken to about 3 congressmen's camps on, keeping funding for the groups. And right now I'm actually going through training for a trip to Washington to advocate as well.
What?
In September.
Okay.
Yeah.
So see, y'all see what I mean? I mean, and again, and not to say you wouldn't have been doing those things before, but it's just to see you have gotten to the point to where now, I mean, you literally going to speak to congressmen, getting invited certain places like that's got to. I'm in awe, so I know that's got to just make you feel like, wow, like I've made it. Like this is all what I wanted to do, and now I'm actually making a difference.
To be honest, I don't even feel like I've gotten started. To be honest.
Oh, okay. So
I feel like I just got one of my 5 toes in the game.
Oh, wow. Okay. What you say? You got 4 more left, huh? 4 more left.
Right.
Well, that's what's up, man. Well, again, like I said, if ain't nobody else told you, I'm gonna tell you, I'm proud of you. I always have been. I love your drive. I love your determination. You haven't stopped. Y'all, Irv is one of the guys who, his passion, I think, gets confused. But once you see how intense he is about getting accomplished and how passionate he is about what he's standing up for, you guys, I haven't seen anything else like it. So I definitely got to give you your flowers, man. I'm all about giving folks their flowers. So congratulations, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So,
appreciate it.
As we always do, I want to go ahead and get to the part of the interview where I allow the interviewee to ask me a question. No holds bar. I got to answer it. Give me your worst.
That's a tough one. I wish I had known that. I forgot about this part. Because we talk so much that it's hard for me to ask you questions that I don't already know the answer to. I really don't. So, okay. What is something that you would like to see the Blind Titans do in the future?
So I know that So, I'm typically the guy, as you know personally, that's like, y'all, let's go do something for the community. Let's, go speak here. Let's go do this. I've been saying this for a minute now. And I know a lot of times there's a lot of, red tape and stuff like that that's in the way. So hopefully it can happen in the future. I would love to go do some stuff with some kids.
Right.
And part of the reason why I say that is because I'm constantly seeing these posts on Facebook, and many of you have probably seen it, where they talk about a lot of the ways that people interact with not only the blind but the disabled community can really be traced back to children. Hey, little Johnny, don't stare. Hey, little Sarah, don't interact. And I feel like if we can, maybe expose is the wrong word. If we could interact and start
enlighten them, I don't know.
Because again, a lot of it is just, I feel like once people start to become more comfortable with it, then it's not a big deal. So I would love to interact with some kids, and I don't have it to be anything, big or dynamic. It can just go, playing basketball or tag, and just being in their element, because I feel like that's where kids feel comfortable enough while they're playing basketball to say, hey, Irv, why does your leg do that? Or hey, Daniel, what is it like in a wheelchair? Or hey, Dominic, what is it like not being able to see? I feel like that's when kids start to feel comfortable, and then I feel like that's where the difference is made.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing, because kids can also be teachers as well.
Absolutely.
Like, just interacting with them, and they'll be like, "No, Mom, you don't do it like this. You do it like this." So kids can also be teachers as well.
Absolutely. I always tell people, man, it's like some of the most simplest life lessons can be taught by children. They're little philosophies that roll in their head. I'm like, oh wow, it took a child to teach me that, and you can be like, well, yeah, So yeah, that's my it's funny, nobody ever asked me that, so that's a good question.
You're welcome.
Right, exactly. So as we get ready to close this out, if anybody would like to reach out to you or the Blind Titans or the NFB chapter near you, how could they do so?
So all three of those things are on Facebook.
Okay.
That would be the easiest way.
Okay.
I believe it's called the Charleston chapter, NFB Charleston chapter.
Okay.
On Facebook. Of course, my name is Irving Middleton Jr. on Facebook.
Okay.
And of course, it's Blind Titans on Facebook.
All right, now look, you gave it the whole government name. I see you.
But that's what it is on Facebook. That's exactly what it is. Because if anybody didn't know, I am a junior, and my father is actually on Facebook as well.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there's a distinction. Yeah, okay. I guess.
Well, Irv, you have officially been added to the This Is Us squad. How does it feel?
About time. But no, I wanted to do this for you as well,
Well, thank you.
Get your stuff up,
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Look, I need all the help I can get. I need all the help I can get. So thank you so much.
I wouldn't be a brother if I wasn't.
Amen. So, all right, you guys. Well, you guys stay tuned for another episode, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Blind Titans out.
Woo woo.